I'm going to ask the question I don't want to ask, but it's the one I keep getting plagued with. Is Nancy's abduction at risk of becoming a cold case? Very debatable. I want to bring in Brian Martin, who has spent his career as a detective solving cold cases, including catching the killer of an 8-year-old girl almost 30 years after her murder. We're lucky to have him. Brian, thanks for taking the time. Is this a cold case or a risk of becoming a cold case?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I don't believe that this is a cold case at this time. We're looking at 55 days, which it seems like a really long time, but I think that there's still a lot of good information out there that's coming in. I think there's a lot of investigative techniques that are being used right now. We're not at a point in this case, I believe, where clues have dried up, information has dried up. I think it's still a very viable, active case to be worked.
The only way I'll push back is you're dealing with a very different kind of victim here. 84 years old, mobility issues. We talked about at the very beginning of this, in need of medication. This limits also what an abductor or abductors can do with somebody like this. Does that change the analysis in terms of whether or not this is becoming a cold case? I mean, Savannah even said in her interview, they don't have any answers. They don't know anything.
So her age definitely is going to play a factor in getting her home and getting her home safely, hopefully. But as far as investigative leads, there's digital information from cell phones, cell towers. There's surveillance video. There's still a vast amount of tips that are coming in this case, and there's still DNA evidence potentially to be tested. So I think all these factor in and show this case is still very viable and still being worked actively. Typically, I would say a cold case is when leads and technology have all dried up and or you start hitting several years into investigation.
So let me ask you this. I understand, going just back something that Savannah had mentioned, she talked about the ransom notes. She believes 2 of them have been real. Maybe the other one's not so much. You believe they should be released to the public? Why?
As far as releasing those notes, I think that it is something to be considered. I think that releasing those notes and showing the person who drafted those, showing their penmanship, how they write, the verbiage in which they write, there's a very real possibility that someone who knows that individual could recognize the writing, or maybe they misspell, maybe they make a letter in a certain way. And that could be recognized and could provide a very vital lead in this case.
There's something I have been wondering. I keep talking about it. I don't want to forget about it. We have been told that they found forensic material in the house and that it was sent off for possible genetic genealogy testing. You know, you build the family tree, you see who might be connected. It takes time because you not only do genetics, but you also do investigative work. Is there a possibility, and they won't admit this, but we've seen it happen in other cases, they have a suspect or suspects in mind that they're surveilling right now, and they're just waiting for that person to maybe discard a plate, discard a straw, pick it up, check it for testing, match it up to the forensic material in the house? Is that possible, what's happening?
I believe that's entirely possible. Genetic genealogy is very, very strong. And as you stated, there's work to be done. You have to build out those trees. You have to try to identify a suspect. It'll give you a family lineage, but you still have to narrow down who that person could be as far as who your suspect is. And I would expect that if law enforcement has developed a suspect, they're not going to tell us maybe right now. They're not going to tip their hand because that would potentially damage the case.
I thought Savannah's interview was also interesting because she revealed certain things that we didn't definitively know. She talked about what her mother might have been wearing, right? Even saying that she was barefoot. She talked about the back door being propped open. These are details that haven't been fully revealed, some of which I wonder, how does she know this information, and what does it tell you about what may have happened here? Because if I'm correct, I think I'm correct. I don't think law enforcement has even come forward and said there was forced entry at the house.
Well, obviously, law enforcement's communicating with the family. I do find it very interesting that she potentially left without any shoes on, and that there was forced entry.
Yeah, no, it's another component to this. Brian Martin, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.